Storytelling is very complicated. You can't tell a story without going into another story. That becomes a problem. It becomes too long. So I'm going to give it to you in parts. I'm going to make sections of this long story. I had a gold buying office in Shirley, Long Island, New York. And my father had a jewelry store on the Jericho Turnpike in Huntington, again, in Long Island. My brother worked with him, just like I did. But I decided to go into business for myself. It was very hard working for my father. Very hard. Especially that he wanted to pay you whatever he thought you were worth. And it wasn't that much. So, that became a problem. I just didn't agree to his way of thinking. So this is why I went into business for myself. Anyway, that is not the story. The story is going to Johannesburg, South Africa. My father decided to go to South Africa, like a lot of other places that he was used to going to. But South Africa was the first time he was there. And he met these Indian guys from India. They lived in South Africa. And they kind of opened up his mind to search for gold, diamonds, and platinum. I mean, that's the country for that. But, it's very dangerous, extremely dangerous. One, because at that time, going back about 45 years ago, there was no diplomacy between South Africa and the United States. And you being an American citizen, if you got stuck there, well, you got stuck. Nobody was going to come and help you. So, with that said, he discovered that he could buy this material at a very, very cheap price. Now, I'm home in my business, doing business, making between $1,500 to $2,000 a day, every single day. And he calls me, or I should say, my brother called me and says, look, Daddy needs you to go to South Africa, bring him some money. And, he explained the whole situation. And of course, I agreed to do so. That meant that I had to leave the business in the hands of my partner. And I wasn't really crazy about that because he wasn't really the guy pushing the buttons. I was the guy pushing the buttons, but I had no choice. So I told my brother, okay, let's do it. So now my brother had to come up with cash, $20,000. So he went and he hocked approximately around $40,000 in jewelry in order to come up with the cash. He was cash poor, but he had a lot of jewelry. So now he pawned, or I should say hocked, $40,000 worth of jewelry to get $20,000 in cash. Now the problem was I couldn't go to South Africa with that kind of money in my pocket. It was too much money. They would have confiscated at the airport. Yeah, it was totally illegal to carry that kind of money anywhere at that time, like it is today. So, but there was a company in London that had another office in Johannesburg, and it was a money exchange office. So the deal was I would go to this office in London, bring him the $20,000 in cash, and they would immediately at the same time give my father $20,000 in cash on the other side. Pretty simple, cut and dry. So I did. I got on a plane. Oh, incidentally, I had to leave my business and my wife that was pregnant, due to give birth any day. But that's okay, because we were thinking it was going to take 3-4 days to do this whole deal. So P.S., I go. I go to London, I bring the money to the office where I was supposed to bring it to, give them the money, they gave, the other office gave my father the money, everything went wonderful at that point. So now I got back on the plane and I went all the way to South Africa to help my father bring the merchandise home. But when we decided, when I was there, he decided that it wasn't a good deal for the two of us to travel at the same time. It looked a little suspicious being that I was in the country only a few days. So I said, okay, you're right. You go, you take the stuff with you, and then, you know, I'll be behind you. I'll stay here a few days. And that's what we did. Now, I prepared the merchandise in the bag like I knew how to do it, because it wasn't my first time. I had done this a few times in my life. Actually, more than a few times. But anyway, I prepared this bag. I bring him to the airport. There was more security in that airport in Johannesburg than there was people flying. It was something really like strange. It looked like they were looking for somebody, and it wasn't us. But anyway, everything worked out good. I put my father on a plane. He's gone. But before doing that, I told my father, I said, listen, when you get to Kennedy Airport, if you're going to declare something, declare the whole thing. Don't declare a little bit. It's just not good. You either declare everything or don't declare anything. He says, okay, fine. But what happened is he kind of got spooked, and he declared a little bit of it, thinking that it would be okay to declare a little bit and they would let him through. It didn't work out that way. When he declared a little bit, they decided to look further and they found everything else. And now they penalized them. They confiscated everything with the understanding of investigating where all the stuff was coming from. Now, that was a problem because now they took everything. Now, the thing is this, it was not illegal to transport raw material then. I don't know about now, but then. But what happened was, it wasn't that they confiscated the merchandise because it was illegal. No, because he didn't declare it. That was the problem. So again, they take the merchandise, he goes home empty-handed. Now they got a problem. They got $40,000 in merchandise, hard for $20,000, accumulating interest, and they don't have the material, and they added a $20,000. And I'm in Johannesburg, broke. I mean, I had, pocket change, tourist money, that kind of stuff. So I find out because, of course, we communicated. I found out where that happened, and I decided to stay in Johannesburg and see what I could do to make things better. So I got a hold of these guys that my fathers knew, these two Indian guys, and because they were going to get part of the share of whatever profit was going to come from that. They weren't working for nothing, obviously. So I explained to them what had happened, and they decided to introduce me to another guy that had money. And we did. We went to this other guy, another Indian guy. He had a place of business in a bazaar, Indian tapestry, rugs, furniture, antiques, that kind of stuff. Something out of a Indiana movie. But again, I'm going back almost 45 years ago. That was before Indiana movies came out. So they introduced me to this guy, and I explained to him what the problem was, and I was willing to cut him into the profit, but I needed $20,000. After a while discussing it, the man decided it was a good deal and he wanted in, so he did. He gave me the $20,000. I was kind of surprised because it wasn't a thing where I was going to be in the country. He knew I was leaving with the merchandise going to the United States. I had no obligations. Once I got to the United States, I had no obligation to send anybody any money. But they trusted me, and And I was very happy about that. So I get the money, and we go buy the merchandise, and we did. We found the platinum, we found the gold, the diamonds, and all of that stuff, the diamonds, the gold, those are all different stories, because if I try to explain how I bought the diamonds and how I bought the gold and the platinum, that's where a story goes into another story. So we're not going to do that. We're going to keep the story nice and short. So now getting back to the United States, I have to get out of Johannesburg with the material that I purchased. And went to the airport. I fixed my bag the way it was. Yeah, I was running a little bit of a risk because, you know, my father got flagged down. I had the same last name. So my odds were like, you know, not so good. But what was I going to do? You know, you got to do what you got to do. Finally, I get on a plane. And the first thing that I was happy about was getting out of Johannesburg. Now, anything after that would have been a slap on the wrist. If I would have got caught in Johannesburg, I would have definitely went to jail for God knows how long. But we're a plus now. We're on a plane and we're going to London. Of course, I had to go to London, then from London to New York. That's the way it worked. On a plane, I meet this very nice, very wealthy English woman. I start fooling around with the woman on the plane, under the blanket. We had our moment. She fell in love with me. And yeah, I was just kind of being the boy that I was. So she invited me to go to London with her and to stay with her. And if there would have been another time, probably I would have done it. But I was in a little bit of a rush. One, I had to go get my wife from the hospital because she had given birth. And two, I had a bag full of material that I had to get home. So I declined. I told her maybe next time. Now, on my way to New York. Get to New York, Kennedy the airport, go to custom, everything's wonderful. Go outside, jump in a cab, go to Long Island, Huntington. I get to my father's office, the jewelry store, and they had a bell that you had to ring in order for them to let you in. Security door, that kind of stuff. So I did. I rang the bell, and they're looking at me from the inside of the store with this, you know, surprised look on their face because they didn't think I was going to go there. Oh, and the reason why they didn't think I was going to go is because when I told him that I had everything ready to go, he didn't want me to leave. He wanted to send my brother-in-law to pick up the merchandise because he was afraid they were going to stop me, being that I had the same last name. But I didn't like that idea because my brother-in-law really didn't have the experience, number one. And number two, my father wanted to give the guy $500 a day. I thought that was kind of ridiculous. Anyway, I told him, yeah, don't worry about it, Dad. When I'm ready, you send him and, you know, everything will be wonderful. But of course, I didn't do none of that. I just showed up at the jewelry store, given the bags. They were happy. And I went to pick up my wife with my daughter and went home. Now, I brought home over $100,000 worth of merchandise between diamonds, gold, and platinum. I never got a dime, not one red cent. And this is the end of this part of the story. There will be a few other parts. So just, I guess you're gonna have to subscribe, like, and wait until I give you the rest of the story. Thank you.